ever break my heart? Oh, that breaks my heart. That you thought you ever had it, no, you ain't from the start. Hey, I'm glad you're back with you. I mean, who would wanna hide this? I will never, ever, 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 ever be your side chick. I put the singing single, ain't worried about a ring on my finger, so you can tell your friend, shoot your shot when you see him. It's okay, he already in my DM. Why men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True hurts needed something more exciting. Bum bum be dum be dum bum be. I'ma hit you back in a minute. I don't play tag, chopping it. We don't f with lies, we don't do goodbyes. We just keep it pushing like aye, aye, aye. I'ma hit you back in a minute. I don't play tag, chopping it. We don't f with lies, we don't do goodbyes. We just keep it pushing like aye, aye, aye. Wild men great till they gotta be great. Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True hurts needed something more exciting. Bum bum be dum be dum bum be. With the bomb lighting, Minnesota Vikings.
Can you guys hear me? All right, welcome to day one of the Learn to Style Academy, everybody. We are so excited to see you here. Do me a favor and comment and let me know if you can see me and you can hear me and if there's no echo. I want to make sure the technology is not screwing up. So let me know in the comments. Oh my gosh, look at so many people on right now. Look at you guys. Y'all showed up on time. I love it. I love it. Listen, if you have a friend who is in the Naturalicious Nation and he or she is not on right now, do me a favor and tag them. I know y'all got siblings, y'all got sisters, y'all got cousins, y'all got high school friends, college friends, church friends, work friends, your mama, your grandmama, whatever. Make sure you tag her so that she can be in here. Because we are going to have celebrity stylist Niani B showing us exactly how to do our hair. How many times have we been like following those YouTube tutorials and you be like, this light twist is not working for me, right? So how often do you get the opportunity to have someone who does this for a living right with you, holding your hand step by step to make sure that you are able to follow along? All right, so Niani is going to be here. She's going to take over in just a minute. But again, couple house rules before we get started. As you probably saw when we first started, we want to make sure that you guys show up on time. We're going to do our best to show up on time. We need you guys to show up on time too, because we're not going to be able to go back and redo sections of the style that you might have missed. Of course, the replay will be available to you. Replays will be available. All the replays will be available until Friday here in the group Friday night. So you want to make sure that you are following along. If you do need to watch the replay, that is totally available to you as well. Again, like I said, tag your friends, tag your folks, make sure that they are up in here, and we will see you every night at the same time, 8 o'clock, getting started. So I'm going to let Niani take it away in just a moment. She's going to tell you guys what you need to bring and what you need to have with you. As a reminder, make sure you guys are checking your emails. All right, we're sending emails every day of the Style Academy. You will receive an email every morning telling you what to bring, telling you how to prepare your hair so that you are ready to go when we show up. If you don't see the email, I need you to search your inbox because I can pretty much guarantee if you signed up and you registered, that is actually there. All right, so I've seen a lot of you saying, I didn't get the email, and then we can go look at your account and we can see it absolutely hit your inbox. You just ain't open it, okay? So make sure that you are searching. You can do a search for Learn to Style Academy. Just search your inbox for the words. Literally type it in. Don't just look. because it's too easy to miss it, okay? Literally type the words in Learn to Style Academy, and you will see that in your inbox every single morning. All right. All right. With that said, I think that is about it. If you have questions, make sure that you leave your questions in the chat. Niani will be taking questions at the end. So she's going to show you guys the style. If you have questions, like I said earlier today, open your mouth if you don't know, or open your fingers, so to speak, and actually type it on the keyboard so we can see it. She will be taking questions at the end. All right. And Alicia here, who is here with us tonight, she will be facilitating the Q&A. All right. So I cannot wait to see the style that you guys are going to come up with. And don't forget to have your cameras on, because when it's all said and done, we want to see your pictures. Show us what you're working with, what you came up with. All right. All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop talking and let Niani do her thing. And we are going to go ahead and get started.
Hello. Is my mic on? Yes. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. So I feel like today's style is going to be the simplest of all week as far as time. This style is super easy. You can get it done in no time at all. Of course, it's going to take me a little longer than normal because I'm teaching you. But I want to make sure that everyone knows to ask questions at the end. I know Gwen already said it, but questions help me improve as we go throughout the week, but then also help you improve. So tonight we only need a couple of products. I actually have Naturalicious Step 3 with me. I have the Dramatic Definition Gel, and then I also have Step 2. And as far as tools, I have sectioning clips, also known as alligator clips or salon clips. I have my rat tail comb, detangler brush, and an edge brush. Now, of course, the edge brush and the gel is completely up to you. That's a preference, but I have it here just in case. Sometimes I like to smooth my edges down. And so it's good to have an edge brush instead of using a comb or a toothbrush. So I will start by letting you know how I prepped my hair. So as you can see, my hair is stretched. It has been stretched with heat, meaning that I did blow dry it. I washed my hair with Naturalicious Step 1. I applied Naturalicious Step 2 and created sections. So I like to blow dry my hair in 4 sections. It just makes it easier and more efficient to get from the root to the ends quickly. And then I blow dry it. And we know Naturalicious Step 2 is also a heat protectant, and we know how important heat protectant is when using heat styling products. Now, you don't have to stretch your hair to complete this style. However, depending on your hair type and density, stretching it might make it a little bit easier. Now, if you want to add more time to the style and stay away from heat, there is a possibility of stretching it without heat, which means you could do a Bantu knot. You could do that before you're ready to do your style. Allow it to dry. So you want to do your knots while your hair is still wet, so it's easier to stretch. Allow it to dry and then brush those out with your detangler brush, and then you can go in for the style. You can also do large plaits, which are just individual braids. Allow those to dry and then go in for your style. You don't want to stretch via 2-strand twist because twists rely on the texture of our hair, meaning it can take shape of our curls and coils, and is not a great method for stretching hair. You could also go right in on your wet hair, again, depending on your density. I'm a type 4 girl. I also have very thick hair and very coarse hair, which means that my style would change a little bit if I went in on wet hair. My texture is going to come through the braids a lot more. It's going to be a little bit harder to move through my braids. And so I choose to stretch my hair just to make it easier. Also, from time to time, you'll see me looking down because my screen and my mirror is on this side of me along my desk with all of our products, and the camera is in front just so nobody's confused. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So first things first, this style can be changed up. We're doing 4 cornrows straight to the back, and then we'll kind of tuck or bun it depending on the length of your hair. Now you can switch it up. For the style, that the picture that we posted, there is a middle part, so I'm going to be doing a middle part. However, if you're not a middle part girl, I know everyone isn't, you can definitely change it and angle your parts, meaning starting from a corner and coming over and then splitting those sections into 2. It's completely up to you. You don't have to make the middle part the focus of your style. So I like to start with the rat tail end of my comb. It's much easier for me to get through my hair that way, and then I can go back later and clean up the parts if I'd like. And again, that is a preference. I know symmetry is trending right now online. And so a lot of people like clean lines, but that is a personal preference. Now I'm taking my rat tail comb and basically just drawing a line. Remember, your comb is your pencils. I often get questions on parting. How do I get my parts to look or do a certain thing? Just pretend that your comb is your pencil and you're drawing whatever line you want to create in your hair. So I have parted my hair straight to the back. Don't beat me up if my parts are not straight. It's hard to see the back of my hair, especially when I'm teaching classes. If symmetry is your jam, perfection is your jam, definitely have a handheld mirror nearby. Sit in front or stand in front of another mirror, and you can use your handheld mirror after you part. You just want to hold it up and you're kind of looking at the reflection of what's in that mirror through the mirror in front of you so you can see your parts. If you see any imperfections, you can go back in and fix it. Now, I don't got time for that, so I don't do that. I'm not huge on clean lines. I actually prefer organic hairstyles. That's my thing, but I get it's not for everybody. So right now I am sectioning off and clipping away the section we are not going to be braiding right now. So I've got this section open. So we're doing 4 braids. Anytime you have an even number of large braids, it's very easy to pre-section your hair so that you know exactly where those braids are going to sit and that the style comes out even. So I know I'm doing a middle part. I created that line. We got 2 sections, which now means we're going to split these 2 sections into 2 sections. I'll take this, create a line to the back, and now I've got 4 sections for my 4 braids. I'm going to start on the right side. We'll start braiding. Because we have an even line in the middle, we know we can get the same thing on the left side. But I'm going to go ahead and split this into 2. Again, your comb is your pencil. And I'm going all the way to the back and then pulling my comb out. Now, when you do that, especially if your hair is stretched, it makes it really easy to get a semi-clean line. I also have an undercut, so that also makes parting easier in the back. But semi-clean line, when you take that rat tail comb and just draw the line. So the least you have to pull that comb out and go back in again, the straighter your lines will be. So now that I have done that, I am going to go ahead and clip off this section so that we can braid the other section. Now, again, I'm not worried about super clean lines. I can't really see the back of my hair that well. However, you can go in and part clean. If you're like me, sometimes I focus on what I can see. I'm always talking about setting realistic expectations. So if this is new for you or you get frustrated often doing your own hair, I don't suggest that you add things that are going to make you more frustrated because we want to finish the style. So for me, that means if I want a clean line, it's more so going to be in the front and I part forward. Now I part forward because I can see where the comb is going. I can see the line being created as I'm cleaning up that part. Just like as a stylist, if I'm standing behind the chair, I'm dragging the comb towards me. If you've ever had a stylist do your hair, you know, even when we do that middle part, and we're standing in front of you, we're bringing the lines towards us because it's best that you do that so you can see exactly what's happening in real time. So I'll simply take my comb, bring that line towards me. And now that little bit of hair that I just pulled off, I am going to section and put under the clip. Okay, now for the style, anytime I'm braiding hair in its natural state and it's been stretched, I try my best not to add any more water-based products because it will cause the hair to shrink up. However, health is always important. So if your ends are pretty fragile or you have not had a trim, like you don't get your trims often or whatever it may be, then you can add a little bit of moisturizer to the ends. You don't want to add a lot, just enough to rehydrate the ends, protect them. We know that's the most fragile part of our hair because it's the oldest part of our hair. So I have a little bit of step 2. My ends have been clipped. It's not due yet, but just for demonstration purposes, I just apply just a little to my ends. I'm going to go in with my detangler brush and make sure this section is properly detangled. You don't want to run into any tangles while you're braiding because it can disrupt the braid. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of the Dramatic Definition Gel. I'm applying a little bit to the front perimeter just so I could slightly smooth in those little hairs before I start braiding. Okay, so now we're gonna start braiding. I'm gonna go ahead and section off. I want my braid to kind of come at an angle. Wherever you start your braid, you guide the braid. So you decide which side of the section you want it to sit on or which direction you want the braid to go. How close you start to the front also determines how close your braid starts to the front. So if I start here, it's around here, my braid will start. If I section more off and start back here, my braid will start back here. So if you're having issues with getting your braids to start close to the front, you need to start closer to the front. So I'm gonna go ahead and split that section that I created. Kind of lost it, okay. And create 3 sections within that section. And you want them to be as even as possible, not necessarily in length, but in density. So I am holding the piece in my right hand between my middle finger and my ring finger, the piece in the center, thumb and index finger, piece on the left, thumb and index finger. And now we're going to start moving through our cornrow. Your job is to keep all of the pieces separate. So middle goes over the right, middle goes over the left, and you use your index finger to kind of guide those pieces. I'm grabbing a piece of hair, adding it to my braid, doing the same thing on the left side. So if you know how to plait and you don't know how to cornrow, actually very similar. The only thing that we do different is anchor our plait to the scalp by grabbing pieces of hair and adding them in. So I'm grabbing hair, adding it in. And so I'm going to apply, and you can do this before, during, or after, completely up to you, a little bit of step 3 to my fingertips. It acts as a kind of sheen, it adds shine to the braids, also helps my fingers to glide through easily. And so we're going to continue this all the way back. It's middle over right, middle over left, and I'm just adding pieces of hair in. I'm going all the way to the back. So make sure you don't run ahead of your braid. Keep your fingers in line with wherever you're at in your braid, meaning now we're getting close to the end. Don't rush to grab all the hair and pull it up into the braid. Just take your time. And continue until you've reached the end. And now we'll braid it down. I am done cornrowing. I'm just finishing it out. And then we'll move on to our next braid. All I did was bring my hands down just to make it a little bit more comfortable to complete this braid since we're at the ends now. And whenever I'm braiding natural hair, meaning I'm not adding any extensions, when I get to the very, very ends of it, sometimes I'll add a little bit of moisturizer, just step 2, and complete those last few pieces as a 2-strand twist. It makes it for an easier takedown with less manipulation so that we can retain length. Okay, so now we've completed our first braid. On to the next braid. So I am just cleaning up that part to the best of my ability. Going to apply a little bit of the gel and brush it in. And I've still got a little bit of step 3 on my fingers. And again, I'm going to come from this corner. So this is the section I'm going to start with. I'm going to split it into 3 sections just like we did before. And I'm just going to start braiding back, middle over right, middle over left, stop and add in a piece of hair. And that's what anchors your braids down. Braiding is just repetition. So all we're doing is repeating the same thing over and over again. Everything that happens to the right happens to the left. Now stretching my hair also gave me the ability to kind of change the size of my braids. If I had done this on my hair wet or in its shrunken natural state, my braids would be much bigger and you would see a lot more texture in the actual braid. Anytime you run into a tangle, don't yank, just gently move through and then keep it moving. And I'm still doing the same things all the way back, middle over right, middle over left. Always adding in that piece of hair to anchor my braids down. I hope everyone is practicing along. I can't wait to see everybody's styles at the end of the session. And we braided it all the way down. And I kind of just make sure it's anchored nice. I'm no longer cornrowing. There's no hair here because of my undercut, but I always continue like I'm cornrowing just so I can make sure everything is nice and secure before I get comfortable. And I flip it, continue braiding until we get close to the end. Then I'll add a little bit of step 2 and twist. Okay, so hopefully everyone has that so far. Always make sure you're detangling, make sure you're using your products. Now, I had already prepped my hair, so I won't have to do that throughout. My hair was detangled before we started, but I wanted to make sure that we demonstrated that on camera. So we've got 2 braids down, and now we can finish the rest. Same thing, we created 2 braids on this side. We're gonna do 2 braids on this side. So I'm gonna go ahead and create that part the same way we did on the other side, splitting your sections into 2 sections. Oh, we got a clip back here, move it out the way. And if you need perfection, just make sure you're using a handheld mirror. Taking a look at the back. Much better to look before you start braiding versus after. Happen to have a mirror with me. So all you do is, hopefully you can kind of see here, but you can see that reflection. So if you have a mirror in front of you, you'll be able to see what's going on in the back. And if you're a true perfectionist, yes, you can check as well mid braid. So just hold on to your sections with one hand, take the mirror, pull it out, make sure everything is going how you want it to. You do not want to complete a braid if you're a perfectionist without checking to make sure that it's going how you want it to, because then you'll have to take it down and start over. If you're a perfectionist, I'm not when it comes to styling my own hair, because realistic expectations So I just want to make sure that I complete the style and it looks good. I'm just adjusting my part back there just a little bit. Looks good to me. Pre-parting also assures that you have enough room in the back. Now, I said earlier that I have an undercut. So because I have an undercut, sometimes it makes it much easier for me to create straight to the back styles because I don't have that curve that happens as we get towards the nape of the hairline. We know the distance from ear to ear in the front is much longer than the ends of the hairline in the back, which means that our braids have to get slimmer as we get towards the back so that everything can fit. So you want to make sure when you're doing large braids that you pre-part. That way you don't end up with a braid hanging off the side because you didn't make sure all of your braids were coming to the back. I am going to start on this side by applying a little bit of the Dramatic Definition gel. And we're going to do this again at the end too, and I'll show you how I kind of set my edges. But we want to make sure we get in what we can and we smooth in what we can as we move along the style. So same thing, creating my section I'm going to start with, creating 3 sections. We're going to take the middle piece and bring it over the right, middle goes over the left, over the right again, and now I will start anchoring my braid. Now I'm braiding blindly, meaning I cannot see what's happening. It's very important to kind of say those movements to yourself if you're new to braiding, middle over right, middle over left. It kind of helps you remember. I'm also kind of trusting my process because I can't see. I had a mirror on the other side that was kind of guiding me. Okay, so I am continuing my middle over left, middle over right, continuing this all the way back so that we can complete our braid. Adding in my pieces, making sure we're anchoring this braid and creating an actual cornrow. Continue this down. I am done adding hair in. I'm keeping my fingers grounded though, until I feel like the braid is nice and secure at that base. And then we'll braid down. I'll grab some step 2, add it to my ends, and create a 2-strand twist. Now this is especially great to take down those 2-strand twists. So you can use your fingers. They're much softer than taking a comb and digging at the hair. I see that so often. For getting protective styles to protect the hair, we want to really make sure we're protecting the ends. If you're trying to see growth, the focus should also be your ends. A lot of times people focus on the scalp. Want to make sure you're actually protecting your ends if you want to protect the hair that you already have so that you can see some growth. So that's why I add that 2 to my ends. Okay, so I'm gonna add, of course, some more gel. Going to brush it in. And I'm starting from this corner again. Creating my 3 sections. Middle goes over the right, middle goes over the left, middle over right again, and now I'm anchoring in pieces of hair as we continue our pattern. Keeping my fingers grounded. Always keep your fingers grounded when you're braiding. Never come off of the scalp. That causes unnecessary tension because you'll want your braid to look neat, so you'll pull at the hair. You don't want it to hurt. You don't want it any tension. Keep your fingers grounded. And then our first tip earlier was to not run away from your braid. So when you're adding hair in, making sure that it's in line with where you are in the braid. If we're adding hair and we're running away from the braid, we're pulling from the hairline and creating, again, unnecessary tension. And so I'm just continuing this braid back. Need a little bit more oil on my fingers. And it's good just to add it. If you're adding more products as you're styling, adding it to your fingertips when you're braiding really helps because at some point, one of those sections is going to touch. Our fingertips are doing a lot of the work. Adding it in. Never forgetting to add your hair in. If you forget, just go back up and add it in. You don't want to add it in late because you'll definitely see it in your braid. And we're almost finished. If your arms get tired, take it out. One at a time though, never let go completely. One at a time. I've been doing this since I was a teenager and my arms still get tired. So I would love to say it gets better. Braiding gets better. It's going to become easier so you can move through the style faster so you won't be tired for too long. And so I am almost at the very end of this braid. Braiding down. Now I'm going to add some step 2 on those ends and create 2 sections so that I can twist the rest of the way down. Okay, so my hair is not too long. Of course, if your hair is longer, you can do a lot more with these ends. You can create a bun. You can create 2 buns. For me, I am going to kind of roll them and pin them. I don't know if you can kind of see that. So I'll roll it like that, tuck my ends in and pin. But there's a variety of things that you can do. Looking for some short pins. Need a couple. You want to make sure it's nice and secure. So I'm going to do 2 at a time. I've got my ends here. And all I did was roll it. And now I am going to secure it by making sure my pin has been pushed through both braids and then pushed up for security. So now it's kind of tucked that way. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, which I'm not going to be able to see much of. And then I'm just going to secure it. I'm using open pins. You can also use closed pins, completely a preference for me. When it's back here, you can't really see much. And again, my hair is short. I have some step 2. It just needs to be rubbed in. Okay, so we completed the hardest part, which is getting the braids in. Now, this could be your jam. I'm all about natural edges. It's summer, so for me, a lot of the times I don't lay my edges down unless I have something special going on. I just feel like adding a little jazz to the style. But it's hot outside. We're sweating. All of those things are happening. So I'm just like loving it as it is. It's going to be great, especially if you're like me and have kinky, coily edges. So, you know, as we sweat, it's just going to curl back up. So I don't have time to show you how I set it, but usually If I'm styling my edges, I'll take whatever I'm using on my edges. The Dramatic Definition Gel is actually great and it smells amazing. And I'll kind of brush them down. And so I just apply it all the way around the hairline. And you can kind of see how it lays down. And I think everybody's problem is that it starts to shrink up. And we're like, that's not going to last. Now, again, depending on the weather, adding a little bit more gel to my brush and activities, there is the possibility of what I like to call setting the edges, which I think a lot of girls with kinky, curly edges overlook, right? We're looking for the strongest edge control when really it should be the process, because we know the Dramatic Definition Gel is a liquid gel. So I use it, I set my edges. You take your edge scarf after you've brushed everything down. You want to move through this very quickly. Obviously, I'm teaching, so I can't do that, but I want to make sure you have the tools to do this at home. I'm using an edge scarf. It does not have to be an edge scarf. It can be any scarf. You just want to make sure that it's satin or silk. You don't want to use a cotton scarf. Basically, I'll very quickly lay those edges like I just showed you. It was nice and smooth. You take your scarf, you tie it down, make sure it's really secure. Nice and secure, and you allow it to dry. Allowing your edges to dry is going to definitely step up that edge control game. So when you're using your gel to lay your edges down like I just did, I always put my scarf on. I allow it to dry. Sometimes that means that this is one of the first things I do after I shower in the morning. I'm getting ready for work. Put this on, then I go on to do breakfast, get things ready to leave the house. And then now when it's time to actually leave the house, I take this down, it's dry, and now my edges are set for the day. But that definitely helps to keep the edges laid down. Now, sweating and things like that are happening. I can't promise they're going to stay the whole day, but if none of those other things are factors, then setting your edges definitely helps. And the Dramatic Definition Gel has a really nice hold. Like, I absolutely love it. And I love the way it smells, and then how soft it feels, and then it has really great ingredients. Putting things on your edges with great ingredients are key as well, because we know our edges too are very fragile. They're usually thinner, and then they're also usually a lot finer than the rest of our hair. So once it's dry, we would take it down. Of course, we don't have time for mine to dry today, but I wanted to walk you through that process. And then we've got our style. So we pin the ends up. I'm sure some of us have different lengths of hair, so we might have some girls rocking buns back there. If you want to add some more things to your hair just to make it pop, of course, you can always add like cute little hair accessories. How you do that is completely up to you. Those are just their options. I'm going to go with gold. And also remember, I think a lot of people don't notice that these accessories come in different sizes. So make sure when you're choosing your accessories for your hairstyles that you're choosing the right size based on the braid size or twist size that you're doing. Put this one here so that it actually fits. And then I'm going to put a couple on this end braid. Okay. Okay, so we're all set. We got 4 braids. I was teaching while I was doing that. So if I was not teaching, I probably could have finished that in 20 minutes. So it's a really quick style, a really easy style. It's great for going out to the gym. You could jazz it up. Okay, you could do a baby hair art, whatever you want to do to change up the style. You can wear it out, right? It could be really cute, throw on some really nice earrings, and you're good to go. So I am going to throw the mic back to Alicia, who's going to go ahead and read off some questions so that I can make sure everyone has what they need to complete the style.
Hey,
That was awesome teaching. Like all the ladies in the comments were saying that they loved your teaching style, and you were like perfectly detailed on how to braid, because a lot of ladies were saying that they were just horrible at braiding or never knew how to do it. So your teaching style is the bomb, girl.
Thank you. I'm happy it was helping.
So the first question I received was from Valerie Yvette Williams. And she said the amount of hair that you grab as you go down depends on how thick the braid will be. Is that correct?
So your parting actually determines how thick your braids are going to be and your density, right? So if somebody, again, I have type 4 hair, which means my hair is kinky coily. It's also very coarse. When I say coarse, that's the actual size of the hair strand. So the diameter of a single hair strand determines if it's coarse or if it's fine. I have coarse hair. And then my hair is also thick, meaning I have a lot of strands per square inch, right? So all of these things contribute to the size of the braid. So somebody with type 4 hair, just like me, that might have fine hair and then thin hair as well, might have the same exact parting sizes, but their braids will end up being much smaller because they don't have as much hair inside of those parts. So that's one thing that's going to determine the size of your braids. Now, as we're braiding and we're picking up those pieces, I always tell students, stick to small pieces. It helps you to control the braid better. As we move back through the braid, especially braids this size, naturally it's going to get larger, even if you have fine hair, whatever you started with, because remember we mentioned the hairline is usually a lot thinner, a lot finer. So I'm able to have smaller sizes here. As I continue to move through the braid, it's naturally going to get bigger because our hair gets a little bit more dense here. If you're thinner in the crown, it might get a little bit thinner, but again, that's all depending on your hair type, and what your hair is going through. So if you want to change up the style, I think I said that early on in the tutorial, you can adjust it to suit your needs. So maybe you decide you're only going to do 2 braids because your hair is fine and you don't like the height or the size of the braid. So you want to do 2 just to make them a little bit bigger. Or maybe your hair is thicker than mine. That happens. And you want to do 8 braids. You part it the same way we did. And instead of me turning the halves into 2 braids each, we can split these, right? And then we create more braids. So you can definitely put your own twist on the style that better suits your particular hair situation. I hope that was helpful.
So with the leftover right, right over left, Shonda L. Thompson asks, are you adding a piece of hair each time you right over left and left over right?
Middle is your focus.
Okay.
So middle over right, middle over left. Anytime I start my braid, I just start that way. Middle over right, middle over left. That should be the first thing you're doing. Now, when you get back to the right, so now we're going middle over right again, stop. You're going to grab a piece of hair from the outside, bring it into the piece of hair that's on the right that's moving into the center. I know it gets confusing, but yes. So every time. And now when I get to the left, I'm going to do the same thing. When I get to the right, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to continue. The only time I skip is when there's no hair there, because everybody's hair is different. Maybe you got some thinning going on. Anything can happen why there's no hair there. Just continue to braid, pretend, keep saying it in your head, middle over left, middle over right. And when you do have hair to grab, you pick it up and add it to the braid. Now, you shouldn't be skipping unless there's no hair. That's the only time I'm skipping, adding in pieces of hair while I'm braiding, meaning that there's nothing there for me to add to the actual braid. If there's hair there, add it, because it'll keep your braids nice and clean. You won't see pieces of hair coming from here, up here, backward, side. You don't want any of that happening. So definitely stick to the pattern and the rhythm. It's all a rhythm, and focusing on middle over right, middle over left. It doesn't sound important. Most braid styles are over braiding, meaning that the braid sits on top of the section versus that inverted braid we see. I like to consider that a specialty braid. A lot of stylists don't do that for traditional braid styles. So when you're focused on not bringing that middle over, and now the middle is going under, or you're saying right over the middle, you're creating an under braid. So you want to make sure that you focus on bringing that middle piece over your outer pieces. If you're left-handed, you can very well start on the left side. I'm super right-handed, so I start on the right, but the piece is still moving over the left.
Okay, I think you touched on the edges, like ladies with thin edges, but a young lady asked, where's the question? She asked, how long is Tatiana Ratchford? I wonder how long this style will last in my hair. Now, I don't know if she has a thinner hair, a great, so I don't know if she may have finer hair or thicker hair. So for different hair types, how long would this style last?
I can typically rock something like this for a week, which is great for me, right? If I did not teach, it wouldn't have took me more than 20 minutes. If you're new, I'm sure it's not going to take you more than an hour to achieve the style. So that's great, right? An hour on your hair and it lasts you the whole week. Again, if you're like me, type 4 girls, thick hair, coarse hair, a lot of times we have issues with styles lasting because all of this starts to fuzz up and creep out of the braid. And it no longer looks, I hate using these words, presentable or neat or whatever society has, decided is supposed to look. It starts to look like itself, which should be fine. But again, I know society says it's not. So I find, again, using my edge scarf paired with my bonnet helps. So I'll tie this down every night to kind of keep all of that in place while I'm sleeping, and then throw my bonnet over the rest. That way this stays nice and laid. And I'm legit known, my friends laugh when they call me during the day. If they FaceTime me and I'm at home and I might be relaxing, that hasn't happened in a long time, but relaxing. I have my edge scarf on. If I'm laying on the couch, if I'm taking a quick power nap, whatever, protect those edges, and that will definitely help you get some more time out of your style, and then also maintain the health and integrity of your hair.
So for the end, when you were pinning pinning the back up, how many pins did you use for each section?
2 on each section, 4 total. And again, my hair is not long. So if your hair is longer and when you rolled it up, you ended up having to do more rolls, then you could use more pins. You want to use however you need to secure it. Really focus on those ends and bringing it. I kind of brought it like into the braid up here so that it had like a nice base to hold on to, because I have an undercut. So there's no hair under there for me to clip a pin to.
And I'm assuming that you got the pretty dope hair accessories just from your local hair store.
Yeah, local beauty supply store. You can actually order hair accessories on Amazon too, bulk. I travel and do hair sometimes on set, so I have like this whole container. I've been telling clients, like, this is great to do even if you're not a hairstylist. We all know we lose these things all the time. So now I can see what I have, what needs to be refilled. You see colored rubber bands, whatever it may be. But yes, hair accessories online or beauty supply store. I now buy hair accessories whenever I see them and I like them, so that I know I have some for whatever I'm doing.
Yes, I love that basket idea because I have a 11-year-old that takes everything and I can never find a scrunchie anywhere. And I'm like, where's scrunchies?
I have a 3-year-old. So yeah, I grabbed this at Michael's. We have not run out of hair scrunchies all year since I decided I was doing this. And I do this in my travel kit and then also at home, because then she can't get to it. So we've got plenty of everything. We never run out.
Okay, so let's see. We have a question from Letitia Williams. She said, how do you keep your hair moisturized during the week with the cornrows?
Once it's in the cornrows, I like to use I think it's the grapeseed heavenly hydration mist. I always mess up the whole name, and I'm looking to see it from my
Heavenly hydration hair mist.
Yes. It's so lightweight. It does not cause a ton of buildup, right? We have braids. You can see I kind of got a little bit too much of step 2 in there. I was able to rub it out, but if I was continuously putting step 2 on my braids, I would have to do that every day. And now I'm over manipulating my braids and possibly creating frizz. So it's great to have that because it comes in a spray bottle and you can just mist it and go, right? And then I kind of add step 3 often, and this is like I have a bottle in every room. because it smells amazing. Gwen, your products smell amazing. But I have a
Yes,
bottle
sir,
in
they
every
do.
room, and I can't forget to add that. It's great for adding shine. So do your mist first, and then I add shine afterwards.
Yeah, Tamala Starling, I think we answered this, but she wanted to know how long do you keep this style?
A week.
But a week.
A week. Some people, depending on hair types, might be able to get 2 weeks out. I am all about healthy scalp and healthy hair, so I never go more than 2 weeks without washing my hair. Even when I have to take this hairstyles in, I still cleanse the scalp. So a week or two, they're big braids, so you're not going to get more than that.
Okay, ladies, are there any more questions? I'm looking through the live, and I don't think I see any new questions other than Gwen. The ladies are saying you need to get some more scarves in.
I think I missed out on the scarves too.
So Gwen?
I'm sorry, I was talking and did not know I was on mute. We have scarves. Scarves are on the website. So if you guys would like for us to drop the link to our scarves, our 100% Charmeuse satin scarves, we will be more than happy to do that. But we do have scarves in stock. We don't have bonnets in stock right now, but we do have scarves. So we got you on the scarves. So Niani, thank you so much. That was great. I see so many comments from people saying things like, that was a great explanation, or wonderful details about coarse versus fine hair, or wow, someone even posted like, I've never been able to cornrow before and I just did one. So this is so exciting. And I know I see a lot of—
I'm always celebrating whenever somebody does the cornrow for the first time. Easier than you thought, right?
Yes, it is. And I'm not I'm a good flat twister, but I generally cannot cornrow either. So I cannot wait to go back and watch the replay of this. If you were following along, or even if you were just watching to kind of see how she did it, and then you want to go back, the replay will be available from today until Friday evening for everyone. So make sure that you go and watch it. The replays will be here in the group. We will not be emailing them out. They'll be right here in the group. So just as you're watching it right now on Facebook, you'll be able to see it again on Facebook right here in this group. So we'll pin it so that you guys can see it easily, but it will be here in the group, so you don't have to go anywhere else or look for anything else. I do want to caveat though, real quick, because those of you who have taken the Repair Your Hair Challenge, y'all already know I'm all about that mindset, right? We have 2 official mindset days, but pretty much every day in the Repair Your Hair Challenge becomes a mindset day. And I've seen some people in the comments pretty much giving up right away, saying, I don't know how to braid. I've never been able to braid. Listen, y'all, this is called the Learn to Style Academy, not Show Up If You Already Know How to Do It Academy. Okay, not the I'm already a braiding expert academy. This is the Learn to Style Academy. This is where she's teaching you how to do it. Anything that you don't know how to do, or that you didn't know how to do, I'm pretty sure that you didn't get it right the first time. The first time you got on the bike, I'm pretty sure you fell off. But I'm pretty sure you got back on the bike and you eventually were able to ride the bike, because what did you do? You kept being consistent, you kept practicing, you kept doing it, because everybody else was riding the bike and you didn't want to be the only kid not riding the bike. So you had to learn how to ride the bike, and you did it, okay? So this mindset is super important. So for those of you who are just kind of getting into the fold of Naturalicious, you're going to learn we are so much more than just hair. We are so much more than just beauty. It's a lot about mindset and leveling up how you feel about yourselves in general. And I want to encourage you not to just give up because you weren't able to do a cornrow the first time. If you weren't able to cornrow for 25 years of your life and you 26, or 60 years of your life and you 61, you're probably not going to get an amazing cornrow right out the gate. But that's why the replay is here. Okay, so the replay will be here for you to follow back along with Niani, showing you guys how to braid so that you can get it right. Okay, so make sure that you do watch the replay and don't give up on yourselves. Folks who have taken the Repair Your Hair Challenge, I'm always telling you guys, and shout out to my Inner Circle crew. If you are in the Inner Circle, drop a comment and shout out your cohort, whether you cohorts 1, 2, 3, or 4. But something I'm always telling them is that you have taken this time to bet on yourself. There are over 1,400 people signed up for this challenge. The vast majority of people are going to watch it. I'm sorry, not this challenge, this academy. The vast majority of people are going to watch it on replay. And if you are watching live, shout outs to you for being here, but you can watch the replay also. Do not give up on yourself. You are here to learn how to style your hair and you took the time out to be here this evening on Memorial Day of all days. So make sure that you actually get what you signed up for. All right, so watch the replays. Niani will be back tomorrow night with another dope style. Again, the style that you're going to do for tomorrow will be in your email. Make sure you're checking your email. Look for Learn to Style Academy. Literally type that into your inbox and search it. If you did not make it here when we started right at a little bit after 8 o'clock, couple ground rules that we have that I want to just reiterate for those of you. You have to show up, try your best. I realize we all have lives, we have things we have to do, but try your best to show up on time, because some of the styles, with the style that Niani did tonight, she did 4 cornrows to the back, so she was able to show you 4 different times how to do the braid. But there's other styles during this week that she won't be repeating the same thing multiple times. So she won't be able to go back because we have to allot for the amount of time that we have available. So you want to make sure that as much as you can, make sure that you do show up right at 8 o'clock Eastern time, so that you are able to see all the things that she's teaching you. Tonight's style was, in my opinion, somewhat of a prelude to some of the other styles that we're going to be creating. So she has some other styles she's going to show us that include a twist out or a puff or what have you, but they may include like a braid just for some extra pizzazz, or, you know, to jazz it up or what have you. And so what you want to do is you do want to make sure that you go back and watch the replay of this. Watch the replay of this if you didn't get it the first time, so that you can get that down. So she's starting with a relatively simpler style, and as we go along in the week, it'll get progressively more advanced. So this is the simplest thing that she's going to teach. And so again, you want to make sure you get this one so that you're able to be set up for the following days. All right. One more thing before we head out for the night. Niani talked quite a bit about healthy hair. You know, she talked about having, you know, healthy edges and healthy hair in general, and moisturizing your hair and all those sorts of things. And what you may have noticed is that she, as well as us, are very big proponents of not only having your hair look great, but also having your hair be in shape so that your hair can look great. A lot of the styles that you all are going to want to do during this challenge, why I keep saying challenge, during this academy and even after this academy, will be contingent upon the health of your hair. And so you've got to make sure that your hair is in shape, that you're taking care of it and all of those things. And so I won't go into my long spill about what I normally do in the Repair Your Hair Challenge, but just know that the health of your hair is almost more important than the style of it as well. Because if your hair is in shape, a lot of times the things that you aren't able to create with hair that's not really super healthy will be much easier to do if your hair is in the shape that it should be. All right. So we will see you tomorrow night. Make sure you post your pictures. Post your pictures of your 4 cornrows to the back. We cannot wait to see what you guys created. If you have any other questions that didn't get answered tonight, or if you didn't ask a question but something pops up, feel free to leave your question. We will make a dedicated thread just for day 1 so that Niani will be able to go back and see your questions and answer them that way. You guys have a wonderful evening, and don't forget the replay will be in this group. Check your email in the morning, and we will see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Have a great night, everybody. Bye.